Hi guys, in this video we're going to be talking about what actually is a spiritual awakening. Rather than the actual spiritual awakening process and how you actually do it, how you actually explain to someone else what it is if they question, do you think I'm having one? Because often as people watching this channel or as people who have been on the path for quite some time, we learn how to we lose the ability to be able to break this down into simple everyday terms. So today I want to break that down, strip it apart so that if you ever get asked by a friend or a relative, you know what to say and it gives you better clarity for yourself as well. Because this term spiritual awakening is new. It's something which now people are coming across more and more. And people are learning about it in this terms of the Great Awakening and everyone's waking up. But what does that really mean? And I think the first way to know that you might be going through some sort of awakening is you notice that within yourself or the person who you're talking to is starting to question the self. Question, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I feeling like this? Like, what's going on within me? I mean, from a simple personal development perspective, it is that realization that outside things aren't going to make me happy. Going on more expensive holidays, getting a better job, a bigger house, fancier car, different set of friends, whatever that, all that outside stuff really is not what life is about. And a lot of people are starting to realize more and more now that happiness is an internal journey, so that while within themselves they've got anxiety or they've got frustration or they get panic attacks or they got these things going on within them and they're like, I'm not happy in my life, they're really starting to question what's going to give me that happiness, that fulfillment, what's going to solve these issues for me. And a lot of people are realizing that it is an inward process that we need to go into, or happiness is the inward gain. And from that, there is strength. But for a lot of these people, if it's not that, the first step, this questioning going on with the self, right? The questioning of, gosh, is there just the weekends hanging around the same people, doing the same activities, going through the same sort of everyday, the mundane boringness of life, just feeling that there's got to be more to life to this feeling, often goes along with, at the same time during someone perhaps going through a spiritual awakening journey, another step is they start to then question, well, look at what's going on around me. And that has been the blessing of 2020 and the breaking down of the stable. I mean, never before since the major world wars has there been such a loss of stable in our life. You think about it, our freedom of movement, our ability to travel around the world and to just be able to interact with our fellow human beings has been in a way taken away from us almost like never before. So that questioning of what is going on around us happens at the same time we're questioning what's going on within us. And one of the blessings of 2020, and I hear a lot of people saying they can't wait for it to be over because they want things to go back to normal. And I don't know if things are going to go back to normal. I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who have been triggered by 2020 and what's going on, triggered within themselves to ask those questions. And that then leads to, we question all of these ridiculous things that seem to go on around us. The inequality of rules. It seems like there's two sets of rules for different types of people, rules that make no sense. People are allowed in a venue, but they're not allowed to dance. People aren't allowed to go to a wedding or a funeral in greater numbers of 10 or 20 or 30, whatever it is in your country, yet they fill a football stadium full of 30,000 people to watch the sport. Because why? Well, that's good for the economy. I mean, how does all that make sense? So all of a sudden, we start to question these politicians. Are they actually got it all together? Are they smart? What is a politician? Who says all of us need to follow the rules from these people? What's influencing their decision? All these people who give them hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to fund their next election? I mean, have they got the best intention for it? Do they represent the average person. There's all these different stakes playing out and influencing what is going on in our world. And as you start to wake up, you start to go, what's going on within me? What's going on out there? And hang on, a lot of this logically just isn't making sense. And a lot of people love to go down that path of conspiracy theory. And there's probably somewhat fact to a lot of the conspiracy theories. But if you yourself are going on a spiritual awakening journey, we need to break this down into what it means for me. Because if we've talked about those things so far, you're questioning what's going on within you, you're questioning what's going on around you, and then at the same time, you get all the crazy little synchronicities that go along with a spiritual awakening. You're seeing 11:11 everywhere. You're waking up at 2:22 a.m. You're seeing like patterns in the numbers. You notice all of a sudden that you're looking at things to do with the evolution of the soul or self-development or being a happier, more positive you, growing as a person. It's like this feeling of waking up inside you that it feels right to try and be a better version of yourself. It's like it feels right to think, how could I be more, become more? How could I expand? And if we leave the outside conspiracy things out for a moment and just totally look at what's going on within you, those three things really break down and can help you to guide a person to the fact that, hey, you might be going on a spiritual awakening. I mean, the first two are easy, where people question things or start to notice they question what's going on around. But the synchronicities are exciting. You know, when they're seeing feathers everywhere, or they're seeing the patterns in the numbers, or they're getting these strange coincidences that just peak more than normal. You think of a person and they ring you, and it may have happened before, but often these things happen more and more. You get a feeling about someone you haven't heard from so long, and they call you, or you bump into them down the street, or just these things start happening. And when your old friends come back into your life, and they're right into this stuff, and all of a sudden these old connections are getting this feeling in you going, wow, where I am at the moment, stuck with the people I'm stuck with, they're going on the weekends, having the same conversations. There's more out there. There's more that I could be learning and expanding into. Okay, what is then a spiritual awakening? How do I go on this process? How do I start the work within for me to be the best version of myself? And this is what our channel is all about. Awakening education is about taking someone who is curious and then letting them read and listen and understand to get them to be a point where they become interested and eager and prepared to do the work. They realize that they want to go down this journey and this process of self-discovery. And the process that we talk through in our videos could be overviewed into, first, you do the inner work. First, you realize that we are not just a body that happens to have a soul, and that makes us who we are, and that soul influences our personality and etc. Once you realize there's probably a lot more going on than we get taught and educated and told about, and you realize that we are probably a soul who has decided to have a body, come down onto this earth and go through this journey, and then you learn about the Great Awakening, you learn about spiritual awakening, and you realize that this time on earth, with all these things that are going on around us that we're questioning, those things a part of this Great Awakening. What's a Great Awakening? It's a waking up of consciousness. For hundreds of years, human beings, probably thousands of years, human beings have been stuck in density. We've been grinding it out, working through the process, the dark ages, doing terrible things to one another, warring with one another, battling with one another, seeing ourselves as separate little groups, trying to help our own group, country, our own group, family, our own group, race, creed, kind, seeing ourselves as separate, realizing actually that we are all one. Humanity is all one. Humanity as a combined consciousness has the ability to elevate everyone around us. I mean, we all hear there is enough wealth, there is enough food, there is enough fresh water for everyone on planet Earth to have a, quote, happy and relaxed standard of living. No one needs to die of hunger. No one needs to die from lack of water and from all these horrible conditions. There is this inequality, And the Great Awakening is where combined planet Earth needs to raise its consciousness up. So we move out of 3D consciousness, we move out of the density of those lower levels of thinking, and the thought and the elevation goes up together. How do you do that? Well, the way you do that is you work on yourself first. You can't go out there and change the world if your world is all messed up. If your world is all in disorder, the best thing you can do for that outside world is to work on your world. So you realize that as a soul, when you came into this human body, part of the soul's journey is to learn how to be real, learn how to experience duality, learn what a gift that is. What does that mean? What that means is you don't experience love, you don't experience friendship, or you don't value happiness, friendship, connectedness. You don't appreciate elevated so-called positive emotions until you've had the opposite: loss, pain, neglect. You felt anger, you felt fear. So we need the two together, and the laws of the universe are influencing our soul's journey. The law of vibration, the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, the law of, you get the idea, synchronicity, the law of focused thought. These different laws are guiding our soul's journey so we can experience all these different things, and then we can get to this point where we wake up and we go, hang on, all these things that have happened to me in our life, particularly the rotten things, I need to be thankful for. So that's where you move into gratitude. That's where you learn to have true gratitude. And there's a lot of talk out there about gratitude. Lie in bed at night and think about all the things you're grateful for. The biggest strength is when you learn to lie there and think about all the rotten stuff that's happened and give thanks for that, because realize that has made you who you are, and that experience has hopefully helping you to lead to understanding, which equals wisdom. When you've got wisdom and you realize through wisdom what's real, you can drop away the ego. There's no need to think you're any better than anyone else. You're just a soul on a different journey. Some people are on a completely different path to you. There's no need to feel inadequate and compare yourself to what someone else has got to think, I am a good person or not a good person. It's all part of your journey. However, through the work, you can learn to get the vibration up and to have more wisdom, more understanding, and then observe. You learn to observe other people, how they're responding, how they're reacting. You learn to observe situations that are going on around you and how they might be helping you to see an emotion in you that you need to learn about and you need to work through. In fact, when you observe yourself, observing what's going on around, that is where you start to really have the wisdom of seeing that you're growing as a powerful soul. So you have kindness, compassion, understanding. When things aren't going wrong in your life, you don't think, why me? Why is this happening to me? It's their fault, or I wish this would change. You go, no, what is this trying to show me about me? What is the emotion I can work through? And as you learn to do that, your law of attraction changes and the circumstances in your life change as well. All of that process and all of those paths we've tried to talk about and expand in the many videos on this channel. It's what we help people to go through in our coaching program, where we guide you through the actual spiritual awakening process, making sense of what's going on around you, helping you to think about how that could be a lesson for you, and to have you be in this state of mind where you're not fearful of what might happen next in the global economy, what might happen next in the whole global situation with pandemics and with mass vaccinations and with government imposed control. You sit there and you realize what this is about is my inner work. You sit there and you realize it's about me being aware of who's around me, who's getting attracted into my life, me going within, connecting to higher intelligence, connecting to the divine, and being the best version of yourself. So guys, Awakening Education has come to a point where this is our 100th video, and I wanted to share with you where we're at, and next year even more, take you on this journey of self-discovery as we help you guys be the best version of yourself, go on a spiritual awakening journey and connect to the divinity that is within you. you.